This is part 5 of my layoff protocol. Hope you enjoy. Just a reminder, I'm having to do it in multiple sections because my phone was having an issue with saving the original hour and a half long video. So I wanted to have it up there as one big long video, but unfortunately couldn't figure out how to get that done. We left off with tunneling out of the prison and the walls that you have to get through are like the disempowering beliefs, like fear of what other people will think. People will think I'm lazy, people, whatever, or fear of not having what you need, your food, clothing, shelter. And the tool you can use to get out, imagine like a pickaxe, and I like to call it kind of modeled after the New Testament version of the spiritual armor that includes the sword. I call it the pickaxe of faith. In the Bible, it's the shield of faith. But if you have empowering beliefs or empowering faith, that's like a tool to break through those disempowering beliefs. So it's kind of an interesting concept because it's like faith is, it's like the fears are like doubts, and that's the disempowering beliefs, and the empowering beliefs are like are faith, as opposed to doubt. And another thing I thought of is like, I think that's kind of like the foundation of courage, whereas fear and doubt is the foundation of cowardice. And there's a parable in the New Testament where Jesus tells the story where a master gives his servants money, and the one that gets in trouble is the one that buried it, and the one that gets rewarded is the one that invested it, took a chance. And that's always confused me until that's kind of one of the revelations I've had during this time, is it's like, taking a is courageous, and that's kind of what faith is. And then doubt, not taking and being afraid and not taking a risk is the opposite. And that's kind of parallels all these stories we have in history, with the dragon, somebody going out to slay the dragon, and taking this risk and taking this chance, and all the hero stories, it's like and in Egypt, with the Israelites, that's the case. They had to have courage to get out of there and dream of something better. And as we see, we're going to talk about next, the wilderness, and that involves, disempowering and empowering beliefs, or, doubt and fear versus faith and courage. But the tool to get out of the prison is like the empowering beliefs, the faith. The energy to use it is like the dream you had at the beginning of what you want and why you want it, and what you don't want and why you don't want it. So it's driving you to use that tool to keep those empowering beliefs in place, and to rehearse them and to feel them, like I talked about, and that'll help you dig through the walls of doubt. So you say you do that, you get out, and you're out of prison, but you're in the wilderness. Not surprisingly, they put the prison out in the middle of nowhere. Well, let's take a sip here. In the Bible, one of the first challenges they ran into in the wilderness was the Egyptians chased after them, even though they said they wouldn't do that. And they had to run. They had to decide, are we just going to surrender? Or are we going to run and trust that we can escape? Because the Egyptians were in chariots, and these people are all on foot, dragging, their whole families along with them and everything. So they had to have faith just even right off the bat going into the wilderness to get out of that situation, and because it looked like there was no way to escape it. But as you've probably heard, the Red Sea parted, and they got through, and the Egyptians drowned in it. So, and nothing against Egyptians is nowadays. This was just the story. So anyway, you're in the wilderness, and you're still having to get through kind of walls of fear and doubt, because yeah, there were walls in the prison, but they're kind of still walls there in our minds. It's like you don't just break out of it that easy. There's the first part, getting out of in this situation, the job. And like me, I was laid off. It took me being laid off. I wasn't that courageous about it. And then you're in the wilderness. It's not like you just land in the promised land immediately. You are, if any of you have been camping or hiking or visited national parks like Yellowstone and stuff, you might have a concept of what wilderness is. It's very awe-inspiring, but it's very awesome. With the word, I think the word awesome has been overused so much. We don't really fully understand, awe-inspiring is like, wow, like not just like, oh, that's neat or fun or cool. It's like awe is like a respect for the immensity and power of something. So you're in this immense and powerful environment, and there's so much freedom, but it's like total freedom, and it's like, oh my God, this is so much freedom. It's kind of scary. It's chaotic, is what it is. It's it's like, oh, there's no structure. What do I do? Where do I go? And so, there's even enemies. There's wild animals. There's cacti. There's harsh temperatures, and the Israelites encountered a lot of this stuff. And so you got to still have your faith, your empowering beliefs, and you got to fight against disempowering beliefs or doubts when you're in the wilderness. And you've got to, one thing I think you got to have is some kind of structure. And I was just saying there's a lack of structure in the wilderness, and that's true. And that's kind of why you have to make somewhat of a structure for yourself, or embrace somewhat of a structure. And so the difference in the wilderness is you're deciding the structure rather than an employer. That's like what a slave is. A slave is someone that's like saying, okay, someone else give me all the rules and direction, and I'll just do it. Yes, master, I'll do what you say. And so when you're in the wilderness, you just have to say, okay, what time am I getting up? What am I going to do all day at this time, at that time? And so you need to set up a structure in the form of a schedule, in my opinion, at least a loose schedule or kind of list of to-dos on any given day and week of what you're going to do to get through this wilderness. So in my opinion, you need to take care of yourself, your health. And that's a significant part of it, in my opinion, because when you have a 9-to-5 job, that gets lost a lot. Even something as simple as sleep is sacrificed a lot. You have to get up early to get ready to leave. If you're not working from home, you have to commute on top of that. You have to, then come home and commute again. And then oftentimes it might be hard to go to sleep because you're stressed about going back to the job. And so you want to manage these types of things. You want to make sure you're getting enough sleep as much as you can. You want to make sure your diet is healthy. You want to make sure that you're eating consistently. I keep running into so many things I want to go off on a tangent on, and I try not to, but I'll just say quickly that with food, I find that most people just don't eat frequently enough is the biggest problem that I've seen with people. We tend to eat too little, but of the wrong stuff. And then we don't eat enough of, we should be eating more, but of the right stuff. And so it's kind of a weird relationship I think most people have with food, at least that I've seen it in this country. And so you want to try to put structure into that, how you sleep, how you eat, how you exercise is very important. You want to manage your stress. You know, I do a breathing, the Wim Hof method, and you can look that up. Wim Hof, W-I-M space H-O-F. He's a Dutch athlete, extreme athlete, that developed a protocol for, I guess, essentially kind of optimizing your mental and physical health. You can look them up, but it involves this breathing technique, and it suppresses inflammatory markers in the blood. Cytokines are called, and then you do a cold exposure, which boosts your immune system, as well as a lot of other things. I did a video with a cold exposure on this channel, and meditation, which doesn't take that long, you know, and you can practice meditating longer and longer, but you know, you don't need to necessarily do that much, just clearing your mind. And then, so I try to do those things, plus the sauna I mentioned, because of the clear scientific evidence on that. And so you have this structure in place, you know, but you also, you know, want to take care of yourself, but you also want to, and this is kind of where it gets a little fuzzier, you know, because before it was like, okay, I was doing my self-care before, and I would do my self-care and work, and then just maybe a few other things. But it's like, now it's like, okay, what's my mission? You know, what do I want to do? I got to try to explore, like I talked about, and play and find what I find exciting, because the excitement is the power, the energy in life that allows you to do well in anything. So that's part of what I'm trying to do, is trying intentionally to play in a sense. And it's pretty awkward still so far, because I'm not good at it. So I'm trying to be a little whimsical or open-minded, or even intentionally flaky, for lack of a better way of putting it, to open that part of me up. And that's part of what I'm trying to do every day. Another part is, there are a few things, since I am older, that I know that I have interest in, that I'm fairly certain I want to keep, or that is part of my life, that I might regret if I didn't keep them, like music. I've been heavily involved in music ever since I was a kid, and playing music, that is, and mathematics. I have an interesting relationship with mathematics, and I like to be involved with that, and specifically helping people with that. I have a minor in mathematics from college, so, and a major in economics. So I struggled as a kid with math, and then I came back and kind of feel like I integrated it into my being, and kind of made some peace with it. And I feel like I want to help others do that too. I'm not saying I'm the best mathematician, or I didn't get a major in math, but I got pretty far, you know, diff EQ, graduate level probability, stuff like that, abstract algebra. So the other thing is writing. I've always had a certain ability to write well, and I just base that on what people have told me, and on the grades I got in papers in school, and just the enjoyment I got out of reading and writing about things I read. And so I want to keep those three things, music, math, writing, as a core part of my interests. And that was part 5 of my layoff protocol. I hope you enjoyed, and there's one last part after this that I'll upload as soon as I can.